everybody, it's Vince Sellers again here with another episode of FBI Talk. Today's episode is focused on what are things that are useful to know before you show up to the FBI Academy. So I have talked a fair amount in depth about the FBI Academy on some previous episodes, so apologies if I cover any of the same ground again. I still am getting some questions and suggestions in particular for this, like what do I really need to know when I show up? So I may have said some of this before, and my apologies for that, but I appreciate you tuning in and listening to me go on and on about the FBI, because clearly I enjoy talking about this stuff. All right, so on to the episode. Let me start off by saying that before I showed up to the FBI Academy, so when I had made it through phase 1, through phase 2, onto the conditional appointment letter, to the background check, to the health and, the fitness test, all that stuff, and I was pretty well done, had checked all the boxes, and it was pretty much just a matter of waiting to be assigned to a FBI Academy class. It was, that moment in life was maybe one of the happiest that I had, which was great because I was coming off a few sad years. But that was a great time. I couldn't have been more excited leaving the corporate world to join the FBI and live a life fighting crime and all that stuff. And you guys, if you're watching this, this is largely, a lot of you are in the same boat and kind of thinking the same things and wanting to apply or even in the middle of applying. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I remember that feeling well. I love the FBI so much. I watched so many shows, the FBI Files, the documentaries and things like that, that I was such a fan that I thought that when I showed up to the FBI Academy, I would want to stay there forever because I could think of nothing that I would rather do in life. It'd be like going to Hogwarts or something, right? To me, it was that big a deal. So my fear was I would show up and then eventually I'd have to leave, and I wouldn't want to leave because I would be enjoying learning so much about how all these, crime fighting techniques work, how to do fingerprints and how to, criminally profile and interrogate people and all the firearms stuff, all that stuff. So that's what I thought going in. And I will tell you, just to set your expectations, set them low. If you're heading to the FBI Academy, and this is just not me speaking personally, but I guarantee you, my entire class of new agents, it's pretty miserable. People are pretty well not thrilled to be there. They're thrilled to show up on day one, but give it a couple of weeks of the exhausting, regimen, which I've talked about in some of the other episodes, and that luster wears off quickly, especially you're down there doing your knuckle push-ups and people are yelling and screaming at you and you're exhausted and you've been away from your family, and that first couple of weeks feels like 2 years, and it's freezing cold, or for some of you maybe boiling, roasting hot, depending on the time of year you're there, and suddenly you realize the reality may not be quite as magical as you were hoping. Still an incredible experience, and one that on the back end and in hindsight, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's amazing. I'm very proud of the fact that I survived that damn place. And it was a great bonding experience, and just, in life, you don't, who gets to go to the FBI Academy? Not a lot of people, and so what an amazing experience. But I will just tell you, set your expectations accordingly, that it's going to be difficult. Again, it's no different than, running a marathon or something. You've got a lot of prep work. You need to be in peak shape when you show up. It's going to be difficult and long and tedious. And if you survive it, then you'll be very proud that you did. And once you're out of there. But anyone that's, run marathons or done some extremely difficult activity like that, towards the end of one of those, you may be questioning your sanity. Like, why did I think this was a good idea? And then by the next day, or maybe next week or next month or next year, you just think about the good aspects and all the training and hard work it took to get there and all those things. So just trying to level set a little bit and set your expectations accordingly. So other stuff to expect, like in life, remember, you're going to have to downgrade, most likely, your lifestyle in a hurry. You're going to have to, if you live in a home, you better get ready to sell that thing because you're not coming back to it and it's going to be sitting empty. Maybe you have a family and they can stay there and while you're in the FBI Academy and then sell it after you find out where you're going to move to. But prepare yourself for some significant logistical challenges. So just where do you put all your stuff? Can you store it at your parents' house or something like that, friends or whatever? Those logistical challenges are not insignificant when you're talking about going from somewhere in the United States all the way to Quantico, Virginia for 5 months and then getting relocated perhaps on the other side of the country. It's a lot to it. So again, don't lose sleep over that, but it is something to prepare yourself mentally for. And if you are waiting to get assigned to a class at the FBI Academy, I'd recommend have yourself a nice yard sale or try to get everything tidied up where you're ready to go almost at a moment's notice, because you might just get a week or two advance notice before they want you to show up. And if that's the case, you want to be ready to go. All right, so what else? It is going to be hard, just, talking about logistics, moving in houses, that's one thing, but saying bye to your family. If you have a significant other, if you're married, doesn't mean it can't work. There's plenty of agents that come through. Not the majority, but there are some that are married, that come into the FBI Academy. And it's difficult for them. There's some, not many, but a few people that even have children. It is very difficult for those people if you love your children and love your spouse, because you're not going to get to see them very much. You're not going to have your phone and be able to be, texting back and forth and staying in touch all day. And you're not going to have a lot of extra time or energy in the evening to try to catch up and see what's going on. You may be doing nighttime exercises, like literal exercise or kind of practical exercises, surveillance or whatever. In the evenings, you may be doing that for the FBI. You may be studying, cramming for a test the next day. You may be practicing defensive tactic moves, dry firing of firearms, trying to get ready for a firearms test. You don't have much, if any, extra time at the FBI Academy. Now, yes, you do have your weekends. You can expect most weekends, not all, but most of them will be your time. Come Friday at 5 p.m. until Monday at 8 a.m. For the most part, that's your time. But for a lot of people, that's just time that they use to catch up on, what's been going on in the world outside of the FBI, etc. So anyway, just setting expectations here. So when you're getting ready to go to the FBI Academy, again, you're going to be in a dorm type situation, probably living with a roommate in your same room, in your same bedroom, another person in there, which you may not be used to. That's a big adjustment, so that's something to expect. You don't need to bring a bunch of crap to the FBI Academy. You're not going to have time to use it. If you've got a nice, a Kindle that's got a bunch of ebooks on it, then great. You might find a little time to read in the evening or something, put yourself to sleep. You'll probably be so exhausted that it'd take long anyway. There's not time or really facilities for watching TV and that type of stuff. There's just not enough hours in the day. So anyway, so just expect that. You're going to be focused on the FBI. If you go to the FBI Academy, it is an intense experience. You're going to be focused on that, at least during the week. Again, weekends, you can get out of there. You can get in your car and you can go, drive to Washington, D.C. You can meet maybe a spouse or significant other can fly in and meet you there. Washington, D.C. is a great town, lots of stuff to do. So again, I'm not saying it's not as bad as, being in the military or something where you're, squared away for an entire summer of boot camp. But there are definitely elements of it. So, just set your expectations accordingly. Somewhere between being in college and being in a horrible boot camp. Somewhere in the middle of there. All right, what else can I tell you guys about this? Show up fit. Show up fit. Be ready to take that PFT, the physical fitness test. If you've already passed it, which you should, I think, you have to, right? Before you go to the FBI Academy, your local field office will test you. Who cares? Everybody passes at the field office. They're nice at the field office. You get to the FBI Academy, they're not going to be nice. They're going to say, when you're doing your push-ups and you got to do 30, and you're on your knuckles and you're getting tired and you're up to 28, and then you may hear them go 28, 28, 28. Again, I know I've said this before, but be ready for that. Show up being able to do 40 push-ups. Show up doing 50 sit-ups. Run that, 300 meters and near world record time. Run that, couple of miles try to do it at a 6-minute pace. If you can do a 7, shoot for 6. If you're doing an 8, shoot for 7. Aim high. Once you are fit enough and you pass your physical fitness test at your local office, do not stop exercising. That's when you should really step it up. Because if you show up fit to the FBI Academy and you're ready to go, then life will be much, much easier. So again, setting expectations here. This is what I would tell myself in 2005. Ancient, I know, when I was going through this process and getting ready to show up in 2005 to the FBI Academy. I would tell myself that 3 months leading up to there, work out every second you can, skip the donuts, show up fit. What else? Show up with a nice short haircut. I like mine shorter now than I used to, and part of that's from being in the FBI. Show up with a short haircut. If you're a guy, I would recommend cutting all that stuff off. Pretend you're day one in the military, and they just cut it off. That's what I'd do. If you get there, if you're supposed to be there on a Sunday and checking in at the FBI Academy for day one, go up there. Go the day before. Find a barber shop, and there are plenty in the area, especially with the Marine base there and stuff. Go to a barber shop and just get your hair chopped off. I'm just telling you what my honest advice would be. The ladies don't have to worry about that as much, but as you might expect, just the more hair, the not better, if you understand what I'm saying. Less is more. Yeah, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Get your hair chopped. All right. And what else? I guess the last thing I want to say is, and kind of how I opened it up with, just setting your expectations. Do expect it to be very difficult and somewhat miserable. Don't think of it as this is going to be fun. And then you will enjoy some aspects of it, I guarantee you. You will get some great laughs. There will be moments that you cherish forever. So that is true. But just don't go in expecting it to be, some, Disneyland of FBI stuff, because it's a very serious business, as it should be. And again, the older I get, the more I realize the wisdom of having a very difficult, academy and training class. And they should weed people out that they can't cut it and that are not dedicated enough. And so just show up being ready, being tough, and know that it's going to be very tough the first few weeks. And it does get better. After, 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you kind of get into the routine. For me, it got much better as soon as there was a new class. I didn't want to be the new guy. As soon as there's a new class and you feel like, oh, these poor suckers, you look like deer in the headlights. What happened? How did I get here? What do I do now? Once you start seeing people that are more miserable than yourself, then you get a certain degree of satisfaction from that. So again, I sound a little bit curmudgeonly here, a little Larry David-ish perhaps, but it's just the way it is. So anyway, so that's what's on my brain, trying to impart that to you. Just that's what to expect. Set those expectations accordingly, aim low, and then you won't be disappointed. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I had fun talking about this one, and I hope everyone stays safe. Good luck if you're trying to get into the FBI. Just go for it, do your best, and let the chips fall where they may. Life, just have no regrets. Try stuff. If you don't succeed, then fine. Go do something else, but just don't regret not trying something, right? All right, enough for me today. Good luck. Stay safe.